What's cracking YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a fucking banger, alright? Today I'm putting every single 2024 NBA team's expected starting five into a tier list. Only rule is, I don't care if you have prime Michael Jordan coming off the bench, I'm only looking at the starting five. Let's get right into things because it's going to be a pretty long video. Firstly, let's look at the absolute bums at bottom of the barrels. Teams that no one really cares about. Look, I'm just going to go ahead, put the Wizards there. Tyus Jones, Jordan Poole, Denny Avdia, Kyle Kuzma, Daniel Gafford. They might score 110, 120 points here and there, but they're going to give up 130 points doing so. They're in that F tier. I've got to put the Portland Trail Blazers in there as well. They were pretty garbage last year. You don't know what the go is with Damian Lillard. I think whether he stays or whether he goes, they're not really going to do much anyway. So they're an F tier team for me as well. Because right now we just don't know what Shaedon Sharpe's going to look like next season. He's a big question mark, and Scoot Henderson as well. So can't really justify putting them anywhere higher. Look, I don't want to do this, but I've got to put the Spurs in that F tier as well, just because, you know, they have a lot of potential, obviously. They've got a decent young core, you know, with Trey Jones, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, obviously Wembanyama, but they're expected to finish in the bottom three in the West, so I can't really put them any higher than an F tier. So, got the Spurs there. And lastly, I put the Charlotte Hornets there as well. Now, these guys, you know, they got a lot of decent role players, like, you know, LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward. Who's they starting for? PJ Washington, maybe Miles Bridges. You got Mark Williams. Yeah, look, they're still gonna be a pretty bad team. I think they're a borderline D team, but I'm gonna put them F for now. I think the worst out of this group is probably the Wizards. I think that's maybe the Trailblazers actually. No, I'll put the Trailblazers here for now, just because they got Simons and Sharp and Jeremy Grant. So yeah, that's gonna be my F tier. Charlotte, yeah, borderline D to F. Look, I might have forgotten someone. We'll get into it anyway. So let's start from the top now. Yeah, look, S tier. You got to put the Denver Nuggets in there, man. Obviously, they just came off a championship run. One of the most well-rounded starting fives. Don't really need to say anything else, all right? S tier, Denver Nuggets. Now, for me, it really depends on what you classify as an S tier. Because realistically, the Nuggets, you got to give them respect. They're like a level above anyone else. So to be honest, everyone else should be kind of an A tier. But look, yeah, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to do that, all right? Denver Nuggets, only S tier team. Now, in the A tier, I got the Bucks. Last time their big three was healthy, you know, Drew, Giannis, Chris Middleton, they won a championship. So you got to give them respect as well, man. They won a championship. You know, as long as the big three is healthy, you still got Brook Lopez, one of the best interior defenders in the entire league. Yeah, you got Grayson Allen too, rounding out that starting five. It doesn't really matter. You can put me in that starting five, and it's probably still an A tier team. So I've got the Milwaukee Bucks in that A tier. Got to put my Boston Celtics in the A tier, or, you know, or bias aside, I think anyone would really put them in the A tier. Derek White's an absolute gun when he's playing point guard. Obviously, you got the two J's. You got Kristaps Porzingis, like, yeah, he might be unhealthy, but this is based off of, you know, based off of expectations that they're going to be relatively healthy for all players, right? And you got Al Horford is aging, but still pretty fucking effective, you know, when he's asked to defend Joel Embiid or, you know, shoot some open threes, just not in the playoffs like last year, but Boston's definitely an A tier team for me. I've got to put the Lakers up there, man. You know, obviously had an amazing offseason. You know, obviously rounded up with Christian Wood. He's coming off the bench. Why the fuck am I talking about him? But look, D'Angelo Russell or Gabe Vincent, can't really go wrong. Austin Reeves, you know, you got LeBron, Vando, AD. They're fucking stacked, man. They're an A tier type team. And, you know, when we saw them at full health in the playoffs last year, they were fucking deadly. So got to put them in the A team. Golden State, definitely in the A tier as well. You go, their starting five is a mainstay. You know, Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Draymond, Looney, plus 21.9 net rating in the regular season, plus 20.9 last season in the playoffs. Any struggles that they might have, you can't blame it on the starting five because their starting five is as good as any. So if I had to reorder these, I'll be honest, I'll probably put Milwaukee or Golden State. Yeah, they're a toss-up. I might put Milwaukee, then Golden State. Then Boston, and then LA, just because Boston's a little bit more proven, all right? So those are my A-tier teams. I might have missed a few people, but like I said, we'll get back into it. Now, B-tier. These are like your 3 to 4 seed type teams, right? Like, they're pretty fucking good, but they're just not in the elites, which I think is the A-tier and the S-tier. So let's start things off. We've got the Cavs over here. I'm going to chuck them in the B-tier. You know, as long as you got Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen, you're going to be pretty good, right? Now, I'm not a fan of that Max Strus signing because when you have the other guys in place, you want someone starting at that 3 spot that's going to, act as a third option offensively to take some of that burden off Garland and Mitchell. Unless Evan Mobley takes that leap, of course. And then B, you want someone that can actually cover up for their defensive shortcomings, in that backcourt. So Max Strus doesn't do any of those. He got benched for Duncan Robinson in the playoffs. So I'm not a fan of that signing at all. But with that said, still an elite starting five. So you got to put them in that B tier. Now, who else? Got the Clippers. Russ, PG, Kawhi, fucking Marcus Morris, I guess, and Plumlee. Health is the biggest question mark with this team. As long as they're, when they are playing together, that starting five, they're pretty bloody good. Obviously, Russ had an amazing season as a Clipper, so I've got to put them in that B tier as well. So I've got them there. I've got the Sacramento Kings. Obviously, Fox, Herter, Barnes, Murray, Sabonis. They finished, third in the West last season. And yeah, man, you can realistically expect Fox, Keegan Murray, and Sabonis to still get better and better. Harrison Barnes, I'm not a huge fan of him as a starter anymore in the NBA, but it is what it is. Same goes for Kevin Herter. I don't think it's starter material, but overall, this unit, obviously they had the best offense in the league last season, if I remember correctly, so you can't really put them anywhere below that. Got the Kings over there. Who else do we have? Let's take a look. So I got to put Dallas there. I know they're a bit unproven with Luka and Kyrie, but with the full offseason, full training camp, they can't really get any worse, right? And they added Grant Williams, who's a great starting option, as a role player next to those guys. You've got Josh Green, who you can realistically expect to take a leap forward. And you've got Dwight Powell, who's probably the worst starting center in the NBA, but he does the dirty work, I suppose. So, on paper, they're a B tier starting five. Look, I've got to put the Minnesota Timberwolves in there as well. I think this is one of the most slept-on teams in the entire league going into next season. With their starting five when they were healthy, playing together, they were killing it, man. But obviously, Karl Anthony Towns only played 29 games last season, so we didn't get to see that full potential. But it's not unrealistic to expect Ant-Man to get better, to expect Jaden McDaniels to get better. Cat and Gobert, like I said before, with the Mavericks, you give them a full offseason together, they already hit rock bottom. I don't see them getting any worse, so they can only really go up from here. Biggest concern is kind of Conley's age, but, he's a steady force. You don't really need him to do too much when you got the rest of the guys in the starting five, so they're a B tier starting five for me. And look, the Heat, I don't know how to rank these guys, man, because on paper, they're not that great, if I'm being honest. Talent-wise, they're not that great, but they just fucking win games, so they're in that B tier for me as well. I don't think I can put them in the A tier. Who's going to be their starting five? Tyler Hero, maybe Damian Lillard. If it's Damian Lillard, fuck, they're definitely A tier. But right now, Tyler Hero, you got Jimmy Butler, Bam, obviously, Caleb Martin. Who's the starting two? Fuck. They're probably going to start Josh Richardson. So it's a pretty nice starting five too. So I've got them in the B tier for sure. The Knicks, fuck, I'm just going to be putting everyone in the B tier this video, man. But the Knicks, Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randall, Robinson. Look, you can expect Brunson's going to get better. You can expect Grimes and Barrett to get better as well. They're still pretty young. Randall, it is what it is. Robinson, yeah, I don't know. His role is pretty defined. But yeah, look, I expect the Knicks to do pretty good next season. Wouldn't be surprised if they finish a top 3 seed, if I'm being honest, in the Eastern Conference. Because, yeah, I mean, outside of Boston and Milwaukee, the East is kind of wide open. But look, I've got the Knicks in the B tier as well. Fucking hell, I really don't want to put everyone in the B tier, if I'm being honest with you. 76. Oh, wait. Yeah, Grizzlies, you got to put them in the B tier as well. Almost forgot about the Grizzlies. Ja, Smart, Bane, Triple J, Steven Adams. This is a borderline A tier type team, man, if I'm being honest. They're very, very close. But for now, I mean, they pretty much swapped out Dylan Brooks for Marcus Smart, which is an upgrade on paper anyway. So they're a borderline A tier, but I can't put them there just yet. But who else do we have here? Man, honestly, I can put half the fucking roster in the B tier. Oh shit, we've got the Phoenix Suns here as well. Fuck, forgot about them. Are they a B tier or an A tier type team? I got to put them B as well right now. I mean, they're as stacked as they are. They're missing a floor general, and that shit matters in close games, in playoff games, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, you got a star-studded roster with KD, Book, and Beal. Beal isn't the same player as he was 3 seasons ago when he was averaging 30 points per game. Still great, don't get me wrong, but it's just not at that level. Book and KD, definitely. DeAndre Ayton, mixed bag. Don't really know what you're going to get out of him. Josh Okogie, they're just going to be fuck it, you can start alongside these guys. We need some defense. So very well-rounded, but still quite a fair bit of question marks. So can't put them in the A tier just yet. So who else we got? 76ers, man. Fuck. The thing is, with James Harden, they're probably I'll put them as an A tier in the regular season at least. But without James Harden, when you just got Embiid, it's rough, man. B/C. I don't look like a fucking hater, so yeah, B. They got the reigning MVP, whether he deserved it or not. In hindsight, who knows? But you still got Embiid. Tucker. He's getting a year older, so I don't know. Like, obviously, his role is to just do the dirty work, rebound, hustle, hit open shots, defend the best player. But he's getting old. Tobias Harris, very overpaid. Who's going to be their starting backcourt? Tyrese Maxey, not unrealistic to expect him to take another leap forward. You got the Anthony Melton, very good glue guy. Yeah, they're a B tier for me. Fuck this. Half the league's in that B tier, man. And then let's move on to the C tier. I think that's about it for the B tier teams. C tier, Atlanta. I would love to put these guys in the B tier, but for multiple reasons I can't. One, because there's too many teams in the B tier already. And two, they just haven't proven as much as anyone above them, to be honest with you. Obviously, the Murray and the Young backcourt, they had an okay up and down first year. With Quinn Snyder, give him a full offseason as well and some more chemistry. I think they're going to gel just fine. You got DeAndre Hunter, who's, I don't know how to feel about that guy, man. He's just not that great in any one area, but he's just touted as a 3-and-D guy when he's not great at either. And then you got, who's going to start at there for? Probably Sadiq Bey. And then you got Clint Capella. So I can't really put them as a B tier, so they're a C tier for me. Who else we got? The Pelicans. Look, yeah, I'll put them there. The Pelicans are a team where it's like, if Zion is healthy, they're probably a B tier. And I am assuming this is kind of health, going under the assumption that everyone's at full health. So it's interesting. You know what? Fuck, I'm going to put them in the B tier as well. Sorry, man. This might be a boring video because everyone's in the B tier, but, you got Zion. They were the first seed when Zion was playing last year. You obviously still got B.I., CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, Jonas Valanciunas. Their starting lineup fits together very nicely. It's just a matter of can they play or not. So if they're playing, they're an A tier, if I'm being honest with you. High B, low A tier. If Zion's out, they're a fucking C or D tier. So that's just how it is. But I'm assuming that players are relatively healthy. So yeah, I got to put them in the B tier. In the C tier, who else we got here? Oh, definitely the Indiana Pacers, man. I think they're going to sneak into the playoffs. Tyrese Halliburton, obviously, upcoming, who's already a star, really. With Tyrese Halliburton at their 2 guards, probably going to be Nembhard, but whoever you put in there, you can't really go wrong. They're probably going to play Buddy Hield at the 3. Who's going to be their 4? Bruce Brown, off-season signing. Undersized, but he can definitely play the 4, and you've got Miles Turner. I just expect him to take a leap, so I'll put him in the C tier for now, but don't be surprised if by the end of the season, they're a B tier type team. Who else do we have? Got to go with OKC, man. OKC with Shea, Giddey, Lou Dort, J-Dub, Chet Holmgren. I want to put them in B as well, but, they were a play-in team last year. They're going to be fighting for a playoff spot this season, so I can't really guarantee. Yeah, I can't justify putting them in a B tier just yet. But again, like the Pacers, they might be a team right now. They're probably a C tier, but once you see how much these guys improve next season, once you see Chet Holmgren at full strength, they could be a B tier team as well. Fuck. Let's just name this the B tier team video. OKC's up there. C tier. Fuck, the Chicago Bulls. I don't know, man. Look, let's do the D tier first. I got to put the Raptors in the D tier. Sorry, Toronto. Look, their offense when I was watching them play last season was a clusterfuck. It was ugly to watch, man. Like, these guys, obviously, it might be better under a new head coach, but last season, with their starting 5, now this year it's going to be Schroeder, Scotty Barnes, OG, Siakam, and Poeltl. Firstly, the spacing is going to be horrendous. Last year when I watched them play, they were kind of like, it was your turn, my turn. One possession, Pascal's going to take the ball off the floor. They're going to swing it a few times, then dump it off. One guy's going to take 2 steps into a I don't know, just create his own shot, and then that's it. There's not really much going on there. It was pretty ugly to watch. This season, with even worse spacing, I just don't know, man. I've got the Raptors in that D tier. Detroit, they're very promising. Fuck. You know what? I'll put the Utah Jazz in that D tier as well, because outside of Larry Markkinen and Walker Kessler, their starting lineup has a lot of question marks. Do you play Larry at the 3 and put either John Collins or Kelly Olynyk at the 5? And with their guard spots, obviously they lost Mike Conley midway through last season. Who are you going to start is the big question. Do you start Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson together, or do you put THT in there and start him next to Clarkson, bring Sexton off the bench? If you start Sexton and Clarkson, there's really not much playmaking going on over there. So I don't know how to feel about that. It's I really like the Jazz, but they're, on paper, their starting lineup's just a clusterfuck. I don't know, man. I have to put them in that D tier for now. Now, I don't want to be fucking disrespecting anybody. That's a tough thing. So, Brooklyn, C or D? I might put them in the C tier for now because, Ben Simmons, I don't know what the goal with that bloke is. He says he's 100% healthy. Who the fuck knows? But assuming he's better than last season, he starts at that 4 spot. You got Nick Claxton at the 5. You got Mikal Bridges. You got Cam Johnson. You got Spencer Dinwiddie. That's a pretty nice team. They're not a B tier, but I think C is pretty fair for them because I expect them to make a push for the playoffs. I think that's pretty fair. Houston, I might put in that D tier. Then okay on paper, but I don't know how the pieces fit. Yeah, there's a lot of question marks, right? You got Fred VanVleet, not the most efficient player last season. You got Dylan Brooks, from one of the most inefficient players last season. Jalen Green, very promising. He's also not very efficient. Jabari Smith Jr., he's also not very efficient. And then you got Şengün, who's good. On paper, this team has a chance to be a C tier, I think. But right now, there's too many question marks, man. These guys are all inefficient. You don't know how well the pieces are going to fit together. Can't really justify putting them any higher right now. So I'm going to put the Rockets in that D tier. Detroit. Fuck me, this is tough, man. Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Bojan Bogdanovic, Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren. They're a high D for me. They're a high D tier. Just because there's a lot of potential there, man. The entire starting lineup, except the bogey, you can expect them to take another leap next season. Cade Cunningham's going to be really, really good. I just don't know if they're a C tier team this season. I still think they're going to finish towards the bottom of the East. Yeah, it's tough, man. I'm going to put them in the D tier for now, but it's a D borderline C. Orlando Magic. I like them a lot. I like them a lot, man. I like them a lot. I think they're better than everyone else in the D tier. I'm going to sneak them in as a low C. With their starting lineup, it's probably going to be Markelle Fultz, probably Gary Harris at the 2, Franz Wagner, he's going to get better. Paolo's going to get better. Obviously Fultz, he might still get better. And then you got Wendell Carter Jr., stabilizer. Yeah, they're going to make a push for the playoffs next season as well. And that's a nice starting 5. Yeah, I think C is pretty well deserving for them. But obviously they're not as good as a Atlanta, Indiana, or OKC, or even Brooklyn. So I think that's a pretty good spot for them. And then lastly, got the Chicago Bulls. Look, they're a low C for me as well, man. I'll put them over here. Just because you kind of know what you're getting from these guys. You're expecting them to make the play-in tournament. No better, no worse. So, yeah, it kind of sucks. But who's their starting lineup going to be? Caruso, Levine, DeRozan, Patrick Williams, Vucevic. They've had this lineup for a few years now. They haven't really achieved much, so I can't put them in a B tier. But they're not bad enough to be a D tier, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Look, if I was to suggest any changes, I think you can make the argument that New Orleans is a C tier team just because of Zion's health. But I'm assuming he's relatively healthy for the purposes of this video. So I'm going to leave them in that B tier for now. Detroit, maybe a C tier team. I don't know if I'm hating on the Raptors, but fuck, I want a bit of balance everywhere. I don't want to just chuck everyone in B. So that's the video, man. I know a lot of people watching this aren't going to fucking agree, and that's all right, mate. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I want to thank everyone for watching the video. Subscribe to the fucking channel. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next one.